Hi everybody, today we'll be turning this picture into this picture. I'm really excited, so let's go. Alright, first off we're gonna start up with the temperature. She's kind of bleak now, so we're gonna make her a little bit warmer. Also, we zoom into her skin to see what effect it has on her skin. So this was before and after. As you can see, we can see if something changes in the magentas. Yeah, a little bit. After that, we're gonna check it. The entire image, is it okay? Yeah, it seems fine. So we'll be adjusting the curves. As you can see, there's a bit here that is not used. So if we drag this all the way up here, well, she becomes a little bit too light, but we can do, you can see the background change a lot. Also, you want to see if the shades are, yeah, they're set right. Her skin is somewhat highlighted. I actually like that, but it might be a little bit too much, so we're gonna drag the highlights a bit down. Alright, then we're gonna check the sharpness of the image. You have to zoom in, otherwise you won't see it. This is without it. I'm just gonna put a little bit on it, and some noise reduction, which is going to help the skin a lot. Alright, so we're going to check the entire image and then see if we want to add some whites or what the effect of it will be. We'll make it a lot brighter, but we don't want it to be too bright because the skin will change as well. We're gonna add a little bit of clarity, just a tad, like +3, and some vibrance to make the colors pop. Alright, as you can see, the lens made her arm look a little bit bigger than it actually was. So we're gonna fix that in lens correction by just pulling the sides a bit in. So, and then maybe we change some other things later on, but for now it's okay. And we're gonna open the image. Alright, this is the basic of our picture. I kind of like cropping 4:5 because it works pretty well with Instagram. So I'm gonna crop her image to make it 4:5, and we want to make sure that there's room. The room here is equal to the room here. So, and that she's somewhat off center, so she's got to be between these lines, but to the left side or either to the right side. So now I picked the left side, so that's right. I'm okay with this, so I'm gonna hit the enter button. And now there's these sides that don't make sense, so I can fix that by actually selecting this bit. Because there's just leaves here, you won't really see it if I drag it to the side, so I'll press Ctrl T, and then I drag this to the sides. You will hardly notice it. Press enter again, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Make sure you don't select the model because it will look pretty weird. Ctrl T, right click, distort, and drag it to the sides. Press enter again. There's a bit I didn't do here, but actually I think I'm gonna fill that with with content aware. So I'm gonna select it using my select button, and I'm gonna, you can also press Shift F5, but I'm just gonna fill it like here. Select content aware, opacity 100%, and OK. And it will fill the picture naturally, but with what is already there. Alright, let's see, there's a if you press Ctrl plus, you can zoom into your picture, and then you see there's a little bit over here as well. So we're gonna do the same thing, fill it with content aware. Yeah, it will look pretty natural. So this is the basic image. We're gonna start off with making the model pop out a little bit more. So we're going to use the camera raw filter again, but first we're gonna duplicate the layer. So you can press Ctrl and J, and then we're gonna hit Shift Ctrl A. You can do to open the camera raw filter, but I'm just gonna open it in my menu. And the model is a bit, still think she's a little bit light, but I really like that. But I'm gonna dehaze her a bit and just a tad, add some more clarity to her so she'll pop out. And yeah, I'm gonna fix these dark bits later on, but for now I'm just gonna make her skin look lighter. Because I use dehaze, it will automatically become darker. So, and maybe add a little bit of noise reduction to it. Down. Alright, so yeah, I like this, so I'm gonna press OK. Now I only want to apply these changes to the model, so I'm gonna add a layer mask and press Ctrl I, and then I'm gonna use a brush, like a soft rounded brush, hardness 0%, and then I'm gonna use my keys on my keyboard to select the right size. I'm just gonna paint white on the mask, and what it will do, it will make sure it only applies to the model and not to the background. And as you can see, she already pops out a bit more. So this is before and after, it's only. So I'm gonna, some people choose to merge these layers. I generally I merge them but in a new layer, so I use Ctrl Shift Alt plus E, and then I have a new layer which has all the changes I made earlier. I'm going to go into Camera Raw filter again, and I'm gonna change the leaf color. So right now I'll be focusing on this part of the image and not so much on this part. We will fix this later on. So I'm gonna grab the calibrations and then put the hue a bit down, so this will make it more yellow. Yeah, and I'm gonna, because it looks a bit unnatural, so I'm gonna drag the saturation just a bit down, and then I'm gonna also drag the reds a bit down, so also minus 0%, and I'm just gonna drag the blues a little bit down, just a tad bit. So this was before, and after, before and after. As you can see, it's a lot less green and more yellow. Alright, it's just for the background. I'm gonna look at the shadows. See if I want to change it. Yeah, just maybe just a bit more green to it. Alright. So we're gonna add a layer mask and then we're gonna remove it off the model. So you can just leave it white and then round brush again, soft round brush again, and then we're gonna use the black to paint. Oh, I'm sorry. Paint out the model. So we're gonna paint over the model again, just to make sure it's only applied to the background. It doesn't really matter that, you know, it's like a big step, so because you don't see the differences much. Alright, now we're going to go into selective colors. So we're gonna go here, press selective color, and then we're going to go into the greens, and we're gonna put this one completely up and the yellow completely left, so you can see a lot of happening here. Maybe just no. Now we're just gonna leave it here. For the reds, I'm gonna make them a little bit more red, I think, and a lot darker. Alright. Okay, I kind of like this. Then we're gonna press Ctrl Shift Alt plus E again, so we merge all these layers into a new layer. And we're gonna, as I said, the lens made her arm look really big, and she's like really beautiful model. So I'm just gonna fix that in Liquify, and so you can do this by selecting the pucker tool, make it a little less big, and then we're just gonna make it look a little bit more natural. Same goes for the hand here. It's also because I shot it a bit from below, so it made her arm look really big, but we don't want to change it too much because it still has to look natural. I'm gonna use the blow tool to make her hair look really big, because I like big hair. So and I'm also using the warp tool to just drag it a bit to the side to make it even bigger. Make sure you don't select her face because it will look very weird. But just make it big. Oh, wait. And so we can drag her a bit down to make it look even bigger. So she already has beautiful hair, but this will make it stand out even more. Alright. Then we want to make the dress look a little bigger, so again we're gonna use the forward warp tool for that. going to also change the size of the flowers a bit, also make it look a little bit bigger. Alright, so we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna fix the darkness of her skin a bit because it looks pretty pretty dark in some areas. So we're gonna fix that. First, we're gonna use the patch tool to. Actually, she has like a very nice skin already, but maybe remove small imperfections. Gonna use Ctrl Shift Alt and E again to merge these layers in the new layer, and I'm gonna use Camera Raw filter. Alright, great, something's still selected. Just to get rid of those dark shadows on her skin. Once again, we only want this to be applied to a model, so we're gonna use a mask and then paint it onto a model. So it will remove most of those unwanted shadows. I'm gonna press Ctrl Shift Alt and E to merge them into a new layer. There are still a few darker areas. I think it's only natural, but this bit with the hand is a bit distracting. So I'm just gonna duplicate this layer and I'm gonna use the smudge tool, and these are the settings. So hardness set to 0, soft round brush, and then we're just gonna it's gonna look pretty weird, but we're gonna change the opacity to about 10, and then you can what it does, it makes little imperfections stand out less. So gonna change the opacity just a bit to make it even more visible. And even in her face we can use this. You have to be careful though. Not to put on too much and just make sure you don't do the eyes though, because it will look very unnatural. So you can move around the eyes a bit, but never on the eyes or on the lips. Alright, we're gonna use Ctrl Shift Alt E again to merge these layers, and Then check if there's still imperfections I want to get rid of. I'm a true perfectionist, really. There's a bit of shades I want to be removed here. And also around the corner of her mouth. They are a bit distracting. Because of the light, these areas are problematic. Alright, I'm going to use Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E again to go to the next step. I'm going to use gradient maps. So I'm going to add an adjustment layer, select gradient map, and then there's a few I created in advance. I'm going to use this one. The left color is 50290, no, well, 09. And the right color is FAE89F. So it's gonna make a nice gradient. And usually you see it right away. I don't know why it's not working. Right. So it's gonna look like this. But you're actually gonna use this just to blend the colors somewhat in together. So we're gonna use soft light, and then we're gonna change the opacity down a lot. But as you can see, it sort of pulls all the colors towards each other and makes it a lot more whole. Alright. Then we're gonna press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E again, and then we have to get some of the reds and the greens back. So we're gonna use selective color again, and in the green, just gonna get the green back. And put the yellow down, not too much. Alright. And the reds. And for the yellows, just want to add like a tiny bit of yellow, but not make it too unnatural. Alright. Okay. Alright, so the background is pretty nice. I would very much like this part to be just a bit more red, so I'm gonna once again merge these layers visible, and then I'm gonna use selective color to make the reds or the browns even more red. Unnatural, so this may be too much. Alright. Alright, so and then we're gonna lower the opacity just a bit to make it look natural. Now, this is also applied to the model, and we don't want that, so we're gonna paint it off the model again with our soft round brush. Now we want to make her pop out more. So we're gonna use that by adding another layer. And then I used Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E again. And then we're gonna use curves. So first we're gonna do this. Then we only wanted to apply behind the model, so we use Ctrl+I to reverse again, and then with our soft round brush we're gonna make this really large and then paint just behind her to make it lighter. Of course you don't want it. It might be a little bit too much. So, and then we want to brush it off our model, so we're going to use our black brush to brush it off her. So, then I'm gonna add another curve layer, and I'm gonna pull it down just a bit on this side, I think, and I'm gonna just make the corners look darker. So alright, now we can see the lights coming from here, and I sort of want an effect I sometimes do that gives a bit of a sunlight ray vibe. So I'm just gonna add that by adding a new layer using my paint, and then I'm gonna select like a nice yellow, maybe a little bit more orange. And I'm just gonna put a bit dot here, and I'm gonna transform it and then drag it over here, maybe to the side a bit, and then I'm gonna use it I think this is green. Change the opacity a bit so it looks somewhat natural. And then add another layer and make it even more orange. Brushing again. It's gonna make it look a little bit like light. Alright, so the last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E again, and then we're gonna sharpen the image. So this was before and after. I hope you liked the tutorial. If you have any more questions, please write them below and subscribe to my channel. Alright, thank you. Bye.